We're bringing on Walter Duenas, who says his son was a victim of medical malpractice. And, I mean, long story short, that's kind of the center of this the whole debate here is a lot of people who feel like they were victims or their loved ones, relatives, family members, victims of malpractice, simply can't afford to pursue a claim under the current law. And so we're going to talk with Walter and find out about his son's story. But Walter, just thank you so much, first of all, for coming on the show this morning.
No problem, Chris.
And we'll just go ahead and get right into it. If you could share a little bit about your son's medical history and the incident that led you to want to file a complaint, Walter.
All right, sure. You know, when my boy was born in January 16th of 2008, he was born with a lot of challenges in life, okay? And one of those challenges in life was he was born without a butthole. So immediately when he was delivered in a Navy hospital, we had to medevac immediately out to Triple Army Medical Center in Hawaii. Now, when we got to Hawaii, Dr. Edwards is one of the leading surgical doctors that performed the surgery on my son and gave him a new butthole, okay? Now, we stayed in Hawaii for 2 years in the ICU, okay, in the PQ. So, you know, they, making adjustments to the new butt he has and everything. So finally, they gave us a clearance to come back to Guam, and we did, and he started having complications with with the new butthole. Okay, so we went back to Triple Army Medical Center, and Dr. Edwards evaluated the situation with other doctors, and they decided that the best thing for Robert right now, because of the complications he's having, is to install a stoma. Now, I didn't know anything about these things, so I had to, get knowledge. I had to educate myself on everything they're doing to my son. Okay, so they put a stoma in, and what that is they disconnect the colon from the butthole and attach it to the side of the patient's abdomen and make a hole to where the end of the colon will be sticking out, and that's called the stoma. Okay, now with that, you have to use certain medical equipment in order for him to, when he goes to the restroom, he'll go in there. So we started that, and everything was fine. And then we started having problems with the large intestine and the colon, preventing anything from coming out. But what that means is it started wrapping around the whole of the exit and preventing anything from coming out. Okay, so what that needed to be done was they needed to revise the stoma. Okay, so they went ahead and did it, and everything's fine. Now, I was informed by the doctors that throughout Robert's life, he's going to have complications because of his condition. Okay, so we understand he has a digestive problem, and it continued to give him problems. All right, so throughout the years, Robert's been through. He's 13 years old now. He's been through 24 internal surgeries. And throughout the 24 internal surgeries, Robert lost his colon because of complications of the digestive system. All right, so now they're just using the large intestine. And the large intestine, it goes forever, man. I mean, you'll be surprised how long this large intestine is, but, you would think that how would that fit in my body? Well, okay, no problem. So the years go by again, and the second revision that had to be done was in 2018. Now, in 2018, you remember I was on the news about being medevac to Hawaii, that Navy hospital said that they couldn't medevac me directly to Hawaii because they changed the standards and stuff like that. But, that was another story. Well, anyways, instead of flying off island, Navy hospital transferred us to GRMC, where they had the PQ that was available there. At that time, when we went there, we were looking for doctors on island that could perform the revision of the stoma, okay? And one doctor stepped up to the plate when he heard about Robert's story, was Dr. Eusebio, okay, senior. He approached me, and he goes, Mr. Duenas, I evaluated your son's situation, and he doesn't need to be medevaced off island. We could handle this. All right, so he took x-rays, like what they're supposed to do, so to evaluate the situation more. and they took labs. After finding out the results, that's when he approached me and said, okay, we're going to go into surgery and we're going to revise this. So he did in 2018. All right, everything's fine. And, we still know we're going to have complications down the line sooner or later. And in 2019, it happened again. August of 2019. This time I went to the emergency room at Navy Hospital. I informed the doctors what needed to be happened. See, I'm a parent that's got every document with me every time I go to the hospital concerning Robert. I have 10 discs of all his medical records on there that tells you what has been done in the past about procedures and stuff like this, okay? And when I went to Navy Hospital, the emergency room commander said that, Mr. Duenas, we can't accept your son here because we don't have a PQ. Okay, a PQ is a pediatric intensive care unit that cares for, our children, okay? Now, by him saying that, they said the only thing we could do is transport you to GMH. I said, no, I don't want to go to GMH. I want to go to GRMC because they have a PQ there. He informed me they no longer have a PQ at GRMC. I said, oh, Lord. Okay, so no problem. We went to GMH. When we went to GMH, as soon as we went into the emergency room, the attending doctor said, yes, we have to admit your son and find a solution to what we're going to do here. All right, I told him, I have all his medical records here on what we can do, and you guys either need to call Navy Hospital or call Triple Army Medical Center because they know about Robert's history and they could advise you or suggest to you what you should do and how to do it. All right, so they admitted him up into the intensive care unit up in GMH, and they're looking for doctors, and I suggested to them, I said, if you get a hold of Dr. Eusebio, he'll probably be able to accept it and do it again, revise the stoma. They said, Dr. Eusebio's off island. All right, I said, okay, so what is our plan? Are you guys going to call Tripler like I suggested to you and see what we're going to do here? They said, no problem. So, about a week later, a couple of days later, a doctor stepped up to the plate. I'm not going to mention his name right now, okay? But I will in the future, believe me. This doctor stepped up to the plate and said, Mr. Duenas, I'll take your son's case on. I said, all right, sir, I got all his documents right here on CD. I have everything you need to review and check what has been done to him in the past. And I said that also you can consult with your colleague, Dr. Eusebio, because he performed the same surgery in 2018, but he's not on island, and you can also consult with his son, Junior, okay? And I said you could also call Tripler and find out what you needs to be done. This doctor looked at me, and as arrogant as he can say, he said, "Oh no, I don't need all of them. I don't need. No, I'll take care of your son. I will take care of your son like if it's my parent on that table." I said, "Okay, doc, no problem." And as we were going in, prepping him for pre-op, I saw him arguing with the anesthesiologist. Okay, and I asked the nurse, I said, "What are you arguing about?" He said, "Oh no, this doctor here, he argues with everybody. I mean, he's so arrogant." That's what coming from the nurses there. Okay, now he goes into surgery, and he comes out. Now, Chris, I'm gonna tell you, in the past, okay, my experience with my son. Okay, he was born in 2018. We went into 2019. Okay, I got a lot of experience of what doctors do and surgically and everything. Now, they're supposed to consult with you before the surgery. After the surgery, they will meet you up in the room. They will consult with you. Now, there's a team that's created when you go through surgery, any surgery, I don't care what it is. There's a team that is created, and that team comprises of the doctor, the nurses, and the parent. The parent always got to be on that team or a family member. Now, they all sit together and consult about pain management, nutrition, wound care, and, prepping for him to leave the hospital. Now, this doctor, after surgery, I didn't see him for 2 to 3 days after that. So I started consulting with the head nurse on the ward. I said, this is not normal. This right here, what this doctor did does not look right. What this doctor has not come to consult with me and tell me what is the next plan of execution for my son's recovery. And I need to talk to this doctor. So they said, okay, no problem. They're going to call him. Waited another day. Never called, never came. It went on for about a week. So finally, I spoke to the social service worker, the social worker at GMH. I said, look here, I got a problem. You know, in the past, I've seen my son go through the same surgery like he's going through now. This has never been done the way this doctor has done it, okay? And I told him, I said, what this doctor did, it looked like they put him on my son on a chopping board and experimenting on him. You know, what I'm trying to tell you is, what that doctor did, I did to a frog in science lab in school, where the teacher tells you, okay, there's your frog, open him up and look at it, or his anatomy, tell me what you got there. This doctor cut my son so bad from his sternum to the top of his belly button, which was never done before to revise a stoma. Then, when he made the hole for the stoma, he made it so large that they don't make skin barrier equipment that large. The skin barrier that I had on hand, we cut it to the very edge of what we could on the stoma for it to be able to hold the bag, the colostomy bag on. It didn't fit. Now, I've given you pictures. I've shown you pictures of what he did. And did you see that picture of what the colostomy bag looks like? That's not a colostomy. You know what that is? The doctors had to get a trash bag to be able to put on my son's hole and catch all his large intestines. That this doctor told me that what he did when he finally came into the room from the social worker getting a hold of him. First thing he did, you know what? He came up to me and goes, "Who's the one that said that? They've been calling me that." I said, "Me. I'm the one. I'm the horse that told you. Yeah, it's coming out of the horse's mouth. I'm the one who told you and told you and told you repeatedly. You did not come. I called to the operator. The operator is supposed to connect to you. You did not answer. Finally, you came up and I asked you. I said, you know, doc, the normal procedure of a surgeon after surgery is supposed to come back into the room with the patient and consult with the team, the attending team, on what the next plan for recovery for this person is going to be. You never did that. Now, I'm looking at what you did here. I don't understand why you cut myself from here to here and then made the hole so big. Goes, oh, I had to go in and check on what? You did x-rays, you did labs and everything. It should have told you what was going on. But anyways, tell me about this thing here, because this whole stoma hole don't look right, okay? And he goes, oh, no, that's okay. You know, the skin, there's a section of the skin, so I had to cut all the skin off. But it'll heal. All the nurse has to do is put some silver sulfate medication on there, and it'll heal. Okay, no problem. I tried to be, you know, as calm as I can. I said, okay, we'll see what happens. You know, Chris, my son went in there weighing about 45 to 50 pounds. Throughout the whole course at GMH, with this surgery that he did, my son lost almost, you know, he went down to from 55, 45, down to about 20 pounds. I took pictures, I took everything. They were, you know, I went straight to Navy Hospital Commanders in the pediatric ward that was attending to my son. I pleaded with them. I said, you guys got to get my son out of there before he dies. See what happened? They did. When he went to Navy Hospital, you know, doctors are not supposed to talk bad about other doctors. But these doctors said, what did this guy do? He still had infections from the surgery. They had to stabilize my son. All his large intestines came out of his body, and we had to find a way to medevac him to Tripler. So this arrogant individual here needs to be held accountable for his actions, because his oath that he took was to provide the best medical care you can provide for your patients, and if you do not know, you're supposed to consult with other doctors in the field that the specialty of that field, and consult with them what is the best treatment for this person. You failed to do that as a doctor. You broke your oath, and a part of that oath that you took says, if you do right, then you will live and fulfill the best things of life. But if you do wrong, you will do the opposite. This is the opposite. We're going to hold you accountable for your actions, because you should not be doing this to another child or another person as a doctor that you're supposed to be gaining knowledge and bettering yourself in your field. But you failed to do that, and you hurt my son. One of the part of the oath says you would bring no harm to a patient. You harmed my son. You said he was all right, but you didn't. It was not. We had to make corrections. I got pictures, I got documents show that what you did was wrong. You made the wrong decision. As a doctor, you have a decision-making process that you have to go through, and you failed to follow that process. I'm going to tell you, with this bill that they're proposing, I hope it goes into law, because the whole thing about this arbitration law, it prevents us family members to take these individuals, these doctors, this profession we're supposed to respect the most, because they save lives, they heal human beings, and this individual failed to do that. Instead, he brought more harm, complications, and more challenges to me, and financially and emotionally, everything. All right, I'm a single parent. Okay, I'm a veteran, retired U.S. Army veteran, and I care for 2 people. And for me to afford to go to arbitration is a bunch of bull, because an arbitration hearing costs anywhere from tens of thousands of dollars up to about $100,000 just for you to go to bring that to a hearing. Then you got to decide if you're going to have 1 member, 2, or 3 members to attend this board. Then you got to pay them and all the cost for that. Then after that, you got to go to court. So how in the world are we going to, as normal individuals, to work hard all our lives, that our main goal as a parent or a family member is the health and well-being of our family members and children, okay? And when I seek assistance to help me in the well-being of my child, all you did was hurt him more instead of helping, okay? Now, with this new bill that they're proposing, okay, it will change the law. That's what the legislatures, our senators that we elect, and the legislature's duty and responsibility to the community is, if the law doesn't protect the community and benefits Guam, then they need to make changes to that bill, make amendments, and implement it. Now, this is what they're doing with this arbitration law. They're proposing and introducing this bill, and we as the public need to go up there and support it, because the more people that go there and support this bill, then it can be approved and put into action to where we don't have to go to arbitration law, so that we can go straight directly to a court and have the magistrate there make a decision with the supporting documents whether or not you have a malpractice lawsuit or not.
Well,
and
Walter,
that we can afford to bring these doctors to justice and hold them accountable for their actions. That's what needs to be done, Chris. Point blank.
what do you make of
Now, I heard on social media, these doctors are making threats about, oh, we're going to leave the island. You know what? Then take your happy self out and go. Because as doctors, you should be ashamed of yourself for saying that, because you have a duty to the community. Okay? What you shouldn't be saying is those things, and what you should be saying is, well, then, okay, if you're going to change the law, fine. But let's come up with a solution where we could all afford it. And that, you know what the solution is? Doc, make yourself better, make good decisions on what you're doing. And if you don't know, your oath even says it. I'm not afraid to say I don't know. Okay? If you don't know, then call somebody that does. You know, technology today is so advanced that all you got to do is pick up a phone. You can conference call with 20, 30 people around the world. Okay? Takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes, Chris. This doctor failed to do that. I had all the resources with me. I had all the numbers that he could call, but he failed to do it because he's so arrogant that he thinks he's above and beyond anybody else.
Walter, I got to thank you for sharing your story, and you're definitely going to be testifying at the public hearing, 5 p.m. Guam Congress Hall.
I will be there, Chris. Believe me, we need to let them know that they need to be accountable for their actions. You know, that's what it is, point blank. And the doctors, these good doctors, there's a lot of good doctors here, and for some of these doctors to say what they said about they're going to leave island or they're not going to take highway, man, be ashamed, man. You should be ashamed of yourself. What you should be doing is coming up with solutions to helping the patients and stuff like this, or the legislatures come up with a solution on how we're going to afford to go off island to see specialists. That's what needs to be done.
Thank you, Walter.
No problem, Chris. Anytime you guys need me to get up there and speak on behalf of anything that has to do with medical, believe me, I'll be more than happy to, because I got a lot of proof.
We're going to bring Speaker Terlahi on real quick before we let you go, Walter. Of course,
okay, no problem.
Speaker Therese Terlahi. Walter Duenas, I know you're in the Zoom room listening to Walter's story.
Yes, half a day, Walter. Thank you for sharing your story,
Have a day.
and I'm very sorry for what has occurred with you. I really feel for you. There are
Thank you.
others with stories, unfortunately, like yours. But I do appreciate your willingness to testify tonight at the hearing, and that and encouraging everybody else to come out and testify. I think that is what is really needed.
Yes, yes, of course.
Thank you, Walter.
All right, Chris, no problem.
God bless you,
Yes,
and
have a great
God bless
day.
Robert. Hasta. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, Madam
Have a good
Speaker.
month.
Okay. Madam Speaker, you know, anecdotally, right, and a lot of times when you hear stories about families who feel like they've been, you know, victims of malpractice, when they find out is when the